The other thing I wanted to bring up tonight is the conversation that was recorded at BuzzFlash website, and it was by a university psychologist. She is a research fellow in social psychology here at Georgia State University. Her name is Sofia Moskalenko, and she's writing about QAnon followers they report about their mental health diagnoses. You follow me there? Now, we know these people are crazy. I mean, what sane person would claim that a satanic cabal of pedophiles and cannibals controls world governments and the media? I mean, this shouldn't even be a discussable issue. This is something that belongs in the annals of abnormal psychology. But these people are out here. They're in the world. They're in this country. Professor Moskalenko writes that QAnon is often viewed as a group associated with conspiracy and terrorism and radical action, like the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. But radical extremism and terror may not be the real concern from this group. Oh, God, do I feel like I'm inside of an asylum talking to a crowd of people outside who have come by to look at the freaks inside. These QAnon followers, the cucumbers, they could number in the millions right now. They subscribe not just to this bullshit about a satanic cabal of pedophiles and cannibals controlling world governments and the media. They also subscribe to other outlandish, ridiculous, insane ideas, such as the earth is the earth is flat. Oh my God. And Georgia, one of our districts here, I think the 14th congressional district, we just elected one of these cucumbers. Not we, but the assholes and idiots and knuckle draggers who live in that district sent Marjorie, whatever the hell the rest of her name is, to Washington. The earth is flat? And that the coronavirus is a biological weapon that was designed to gain control over the world's population. How do you do that? By releasing a pathogen that's going to kill just about everybody it comes in contact with, unless it's, avoided or a vaccine is developed. But this is cucumbers. Their minds are like goddamn gravel or rotten turkey gravy or something. They don't function the way normal human beings do. And my favorite, they believe that Bill Gates is somehow trying to use these vaccinations as a way of implanting microchips into people. Oh my God. Dr. Moskalenko writes, as a social psychologist, I normally study terrorists doing research for a book that she co-authored with another scholar, Mia Bloom. It's titled Pastels and Pedophiles Inside the Mind of QAnon. But in that book, she writes, I noticed that QAnon followers are different from the radicals I usually study in one key way, and that is they are more likely to have serious mental illnesses. Oh, really? I'm not trying to be snarky on what Dr. Moskalenko is saying. Not at all. But to say they have serious mental illnesses, I mean, as soon as one of these cucumbers opens his or her mouth, the bats and spiders start to fly out. I mean, it just, oh my God. Anyway, she goes on, Dr. Moskalenko, and she says, I found that many QAnon followers revealed in their own words on social media or in interviews a wide range of mental health diagnoses, including bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, and addiction. Yeah. In court records of QAnon followers arrested in the wake of the Capitol insurrection, 68% of them reported that they had received mental health diagnoses or diagnoses that required some sort of intervention to bring them back to, or finally to, mental health. And the conditions these people who were arrested revealed included PTSD, bipolar disorder, paranoid schizophrenia, and Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Are you familiar with that one? That's the really scrambled psychological disorder that causes a person, in so many instances, no offense, in so many instances, mothers, to invent or inflict health problems on one of the woman's children in order to gain attention for themselves. I'm sure you're familiar with it. So 68% of the nutcases literally arrested after the attack on the Capitol, 68% self-reported that they had mental health diagnoses. The general population, by contrast, of all Americans is 19% have a mental health diagnosis. 19%. The cucumbers, 4 times that, 3 times that. And among these cucumber insurrectionists, a great deal of them already had criminal records. And 44% experienced a serious psychological trauma that preceded their radicalizations, like physical abuse or sexual abuse of them or of their children. Either they were the victim or the perpetrator. Now, let me just pause for a moment in this swamp of madness that I find myself ankle deep in right now. This is not stuff coming from me. This isn't my having gotten on the internets and did a lot of research and come up with it. This comes from a professor, oh God, a research fellow in social psychology at Georgia State University, Sofia Moskalenko. I mean, this is her field of study. So just to be clear, this is not me putting my stuff out there. This is Dr. Moskalenko. Let me go on. She writes, research has long revealed connections between psychological problems and beliefs in conspiracy theories. Research has long revealed connections between psychological problems and then beliefs in conspiracy theories. For example, anxiety increases conspiratorial thinking, as do social isolation and loneliness. Oh, well, what have we just come through? I mean, if you're borderline nutcase, it's not going to take very much to push you into a diagnosable frame of mental illness. You know, if you leave kids alone and don't pervert and destroy their minds with religious bullshit, any religion, if you just let them alone as they're growing up and you tell them, as I've done with my children, when you are old enough to rationally think and you decide you want to believe in a certain supreme being or religious beliefs, help yourself. Me, your old man, is going to stand back and let you make that decision. But I am not going to fill your head now This were the thoughts I had. I was not going to fill my children's heads with religious horse shit that then they could never free themselves from. Never. Without some kind of deprogramming, similar to what happens when people get out of a cult. Now, do I say that to pat myself on the back? Oh, gosh, Mike, you're so progressive and so cool as a dad. No, hell no. I did that so as not to put one more potential psychological problem into my children with religious bullshit and fear and disgust and learning who to hate and witch burnings and inquisitions and pogroms. And they can read about it in history. They're not going to have it put in their head by me. But I digress. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.